Beginning our first lecture this term, our first, let's say, online lecture, that is, for the language acquisition course. And today I would like to continue to speak about the Lahey, Bloom and Lahey developmental taxonomy. Specifically the content categories. I'd like to expand upon those that I've spoken about. And talk about, perhaps begin to get into syntax further as well. Before I go back to the actual content categories and add to the ones that we spoke about during our face-to-face meetings, I did again want to spend a few minutes justifying this presentation or this focus in this course. The focus is on these categories of ideas and these types of syntax that we've been speaking about that are part of the Bloom and Lahey model. And some of you, again, might be asking yourself, why are we not spending time looking at the specific comments children make and the content of the specific comments? Why categories of ideas? And again, that goes to this business of looking at categories and types of things. Goes to the really the goal or the core of our work as speech-language pathologists, and that is we're dealing with language as mind function. So in addition to the material that the child learns and speaks about in their everyday life, we need to also think about what's going on in the child's mind that permits the child to learn and speak about things in their everyday life. Now, what the mind does is make relationships among things. It focuses us on certain things and kind of ignores other things. That's what our mind does. Make relationships. It helps us make relationships. That is, bring things together and separate things out in the world. And in our mind, it puts things together and takes things apart in our mind as we think about and reason about things. So to illustrate what I am saying briefly, I'm going to ask you to watch this video of my son and myself interacting in a little reading experience we had way back when he was about 2 years of age. I think it was 18 months or so in this video. And then I'll come take a look at it, and then I will make some comments about it, okay? Okay. Where's... Oh, look! Who's that?
Oh.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Hi, Emma. Brush your teeth, Emma.
Bubble.
Huh? Bubbles? Where's the bubbles?
Bubble.
What are these?
Goat.
Stars. Stars. Uh-oh.
Koi.
Cookie.
Da.
Where's the star?
Da.
Uh-oh. Ta. That's water.
Da.
Oh, look. Jordan, what's that?
Button.
A button. A button.
Apple.
Hi, Emma.
Oh,
Almost reading a book with the stars. Oh, look.
boat.
Boat, right? A nice boat. Ooh, go to sleep, Elma.
Boat. 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 Boat.
Where's the boat? Where's the boat? Where's that boat? Is there a boat here? No. Is there a boat here? No. No.
Bush.
Huh? Oh, there's a boat.
The boat.
Mm-hmm. Boat. Where's the moose? Okay, let me make a few comments about that little episode you just observed, which was again Jordan reading the Elmo book with my assistance, or at least identifying objects in the book. The thing I would like to focus us on is what Jordan actually said as he was looking at the book. Now, the book has Elmo doing things like brushing his teeth, dressing, putting on his pajamas, doing a number of things. What did Jordan speak about? He said single words. What characterized Jordan's expressive language during that episode? Well, what he did is he identified Elmo and the different things that he noticed that Elmo was wearing or that was on the page, such as the button, which he called ta. Button, he said. He said Elmo. He said boat. Ta, star. And he several other objects. Toothbrush, some version of bra for toothbrush, something along those lines. So that's what a 18-month-old says. That was what an 18-month-old was talking about there. Single words. What is that? Now, the specific things he was talking about were the button, again, the toothbrush, the star, Elmo himself, etc. Those particular things. Now, we could simply stop our analysis of language by identifying the specific vocabulary that this child demonstrates related to this particular set of objects, which is very functional because it's clothes and very appropriate, and stop there. Not go any further. And then in the future, as we look at the different comments that this child makes as he continues on around the house during the day, and as he gets older, we can simply watch how his specific vocabulary grows, and in a sense keep a record of all of the words that he has in his vocabulary. That becomes a daunting task, by the way, because although early on, at about the age you were looking at, 18 months, he's now probably gone through, at that point, went through his vocabulary spurt, and he's gotten his beyond 50-word vocabulary, expressive that is. And but quickly soon thereafter, the vocabulary grows to 500 words, then 1,000 words, then 10,000 words. By the time the child is 3 years old, how many words does that child have? What do children have? And the number is in the thousands, and then moves into the tens of thousands. So it's very hard to keep track of the entire vocabulary, but we could approach language that way by focusing on the specific things kids talk about, or that any particular child talks about. And in fact, when we do intervention with children with language delay, when we create our session objectives, when we do specific sessions with children, we set up situations and tasks involving specific objects, and we do target the specific vocabulary and the specific sentences or the specific sounds that the child produces. We do target in a particular context. That's what we target during sessions when we work with children who have a delay. So we could literally, given a child with a delay, work with the Elmo book and work to develop that child's vocabulary by naming the very objects that Jordan named. And that would be our focus as a speech pathologist during a particular session. Or had the child been a bit older than Jordan, but had Jordan's 18-month pronunciation pattern, calling a button "ta" or boat "buh" or something along those lines, we might target specific pronunciations of specific words. That's what we would do during sessions. However, would our long-term goal of intervention be that specific vocabulary belonging to that specific book? Would it be a conglomeration of vocabulary, sentences, etc., belonging to a set of specified books, say, or objects, or functional experiences such as kitchen vocabulary, bathroom vocabulary, bedroom vocabulary, etc.? Likely not. Likely not. As a session objective, those things are fine. But when we start thinking in the longer term, particularly long-term objectives of intervention, or in terms of, with typically achieving children, long-term language achievements, our interest is the child speak in any situation they encounter in the world, spontaneously, more or less along the lines that I'm doing, just ramble on, being able to, we want children to be, as they develop, to just be able to talk in any situation they find themselves. And if they don't have the information, it's up to them to get that information and use it. We can't teach them everything. It's not possible. They have to be able to learn about it, in a sense, on their own as they go through life. And that then shifts our focus. Our focus shifts when we go to longer-term objectives clinically, or a longer-term view of language in typically achieving children as they develop. Our focus becomes not only the specifics that the children are acquiring, but what their mind is doing, to do the acquisition, what their mind is doing in any situation that they encounter that allows them to be verbal, conversational, to engage in discourse, to comment, to express content of mind. What accounts for that? And that goes beyond the specific information. In fact, what we do is take the specific information, the specific comments children make, and try to understand from that what their mind is doing to generate language and to comprehend language that is presented to them by others. And the Bloom and Lahey framework provides us with such an approach to understanding child language, because what it does is provides us with these categories of ideas and syntactic forms and pragmatic skills and language functions that characterize what the mind is doing to generate the language that the child is using, and in a sense to acquire and be able to allow the child to be able to speak in any situation. Now, now before I go back to the actual Lahey material, I would like to show another videotape to further develop the point I'm making, which is again an effort to justify the importance of the Lahey model. And what I want to do is show you now another videotape of Jordan interacting with his brother Cameron maybe a year later or so, maybe a couple of years later. And they're having a conversation about something silly. And I'm going to put that up now for you, okay?
I want to say a story about Perigata.
Please. Please say a
Oh
story.
my God, it's getting wet. What is him? He's peeing in underwear. It's okay. Did you hear that? One more time. Pharaoh Ultravis. Pharaoh, you got the sunglasses, man. Turn around. Turn around. Okay, now. Sunglasses, man. Now he's really ready. Now he's really ready. Now he's got in his super undershirt. Super case-up shirt. Case-up? I've got an idea. Sam, you want to come with us? What? You want to come with us, Sam? Sam, who? You want to come with us? Me? Yes, Sammy. Hey, where's Mr. Hard Duck? He is dressed up already, right? No. I forgot to give you a hat. Now you're gonna look sexy, man. That will wake me. What? So sexy, man. That way, Louie. Hey, that's my hat. Okay, you're dressed up. You, on the other hand, are not. I want to say a story about Paraligato.
Please. Please say a
Oh
story.
my God, it's getting wet. What is him? He's peeing in underwear. It's okay. Did you hear that? One more time. Pharaoh Ultravis. Pharaoh, you got the sunglasses, man. Turn around. Turn around. Okay, now. Sunglasses, man. Now he's really ready. Now he's really ready. Now he's got in his super undershirt. Super case-up shirt. Case-up? I've got an idea. Sam, you want to come with us? What? You want to come with us, Sam? Sam, who? You want to come with us? Me? Yes, Sammy. Hey, where's Mr. Hard Duck? He is dressed up already, right? No. I forgot to give you a hat. Now you're gonna look sexy, man. That will wake me. What? So sexy, man. That way, Louie. Hey, that's my hat. Okay, you're dressed up. You, on the other hand, are not.
So, like I said, silly. In any event, in that video, Cameron is 2 years something, and Jordan, it's about a year and a half later, he's three something. And he's talking, his speech, that is Jordan's speech, is way more complex as compared to the speech that he demonstrated at 18 months with that Elmo book, in that Elmo book reading episode. And Cameron, this is the first time you're seeing Cameron talking today. In any event, let's think about first Jordan, and remember, during the book reading episode, what was Jordan saying? What was he talking about? Objects in the book again. One thing at a time. Objects, not actions, objects. So that he was making, in a sense, his mind essentially was focused on individual things. Now he could have made comments about the objects, about the events in the book. The book did illustrate Elmo brushing his teeth, Elmo buttoning his shirt. That is, relationships between individuals doing things and objects that they were doing them with, and through the actions that they were performing. He could have discussed that kind of a relationship, but he didn't. His comments were focused in the book reading episode on objects, because the relationships that he was making in his mind as he was observing the book, how he was thinking of the book. He was talking not about the book really, as I said earlier on, but about how he was thinking about the book, what he was thinking about in that book as he was observing it. And he was thinking about objects, and he was separating the objects he was speaking about out from other objects. That was essentially what his mind was guiding him to do as he identified buttons and boat and I don't know if he said bubbles or some version of that. In other words, is how he was organizing the material that was in front of him, and how he was organizing his own behavior, the relationships he was making. In other words, that's how his mind was operating, which we're inferring from the comments that he was making. So on one hand, we have the specifics that he was speaking about, and on the other hand, we can use those specifics to infer the relationships that he was making, and thus the way his mind was operating as he was engaged with that book. Now, in the second episode, 1.5 years later, as he was dressing animals, Jordan said the following. I wrote it down here. I'm looking at my little sheet here because I have no memory whatsoever. He said things like, "He's peeing. Do you hear that? Now he is really ready. Now he's now he has his super undershirt." Those were some of the things Jordan's saying. So first of all, his focus is he's thinking not just about objects now, but about objects and actions and even attributes, such as super undershirt. And he's making relationships, not just about, his mind is not just focused on one thing as it's separated out from others, but instead on relationships between objects or persons and actions. He's peeing. Between persons and other objects through an action such as, "Do you hear that?" That would be a relationship between you and that through hearing. Or now he's got his super undershirt. I can barely read what I wrote. He's got his super undershirt. There's a relationship between him and possessing an undershirt. So him and an undershirt through the possession he has, and time even, now. Now that's a complex relationship. That's how he's thinking about, not the book in the second case. In that episode, it's about dressing the animals. But there his thinking has expanded, and he's making more complex relations. So we're taking his vocabulary also has expanded. And if we look at the specific things now he's talking about actions such as peeing and hearing and having, or the act of possessing, having. He's talking about more objects. He's talking about time. He's got vocabulary for way more stuff. But it's not just the vocabulary that's happening, but relationship making. And by the way, as relationship making increases in complexity, the child needs a way to express that verbally. And what has emerged in Jordan's language? Syntax. He's now using sentences. Of course he has to, because he's trying to express relationships. And in the domain of content, his mind is making, again, more complex relations. In fact, his sentences get even more complex and become two verb. We'll come back to that in a little bit. So his relationship making is even more complex. But I'm again saying that as speech language pathologists, we need to know the specifics that the child speaks about, of course, because that's what when we operate clinically, that's how we're going to be working with children, with the specific things they're playing with and talking about. But also we need to try to develop an understanding of how the mind is operating as it's generating language, because it's really the child is talking about how he's thinking about the real world, not about the real world directly. And the thinking, of course, is mind function. In any event, what I've been trying to do in this first part of today's lecture is to motivate you or to engage you in our enterprise here of trying to understand language across the developmental phases, language as it involves mind function as well as the specifics children have in mind. So I'm going to now turn to the Lahey model and expand on the content-form interactions that we began speaking about during our face-to-face sessions.